Then we finish with 2 pages now. We're still with the course lessons, building online lessons now. Then the course lessons, what is the value of online lessons now? Dividing course content into lessons makes it easy to organize and timely distribute it. However, every lesson is given instructional objectives that serve the whole course objectives. So as a result, this enhances the student understanding, the delivering of information, and connecting information to instructional objectives that show what the use of this information. The course lesson content, you should start with the objectives of this lesson, and you should build what we call a learning roadmap. You start by the material, then activities, then you finish with assessments. This is what we call learning roadmap. And the course lesson objectives, the value of the course lesson objectives, it clarifies the students to the outcomes they are expected and how to achieve it by each lesson. And really, the suggestion here, the institution of quality matters demands or requirement that these objectives have to be measurable from the student perspectives. Then what does it mean our objective should be measurable? How instructional objectives are written? Well, a measurable action or verb, then you write the objective text. Then you need what we call a measurable verb. Example, count the benefit of online learning. Describe the component of online course. Analyze a learning situation in an online learning management or environment. Okay, then we have these verbs which are measurable. Count, describe, analyze. These verbs are measurable. The verb count, describe, analyze are all measurable, while the verbs understand, train, learn, possess are non-measurable. Then the objective we try to build and achieve are at most from the cognitive domain. The cognitive domain involves knowledge and development and intellectual skills from Bloom. Okay, let's see what is the taxonomy Bloom and what does it mean. And here is our what we call Bloom's taxonomy of measurable verbs. These verbs are created. We created a taxonomy of measurable verbs to help us describe and classify observable knowledge, skills, attitude, and behaviors and abilities. And the theory is based upon the idea that there are levels of observable actions that indicate something is happening in the brain, which is a cognitive activity. By creating learning objectives using measurable verbs, you indicate explicitly what the student must do in order to demonstrate learning. This is the verbs that demonstrate critical thinking. Okay, then we have these activities: knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. And Each category, it has its own measurable verb. For knowledge, if you want to assess knowledge, then you can ask list, name, record, relate, repeat, state, tell, underline. For the comprehension, you can, for example, compare, describe, discuss, explain, express, identify, recognize, restate, tell, translate. For application, apply, complete, construct, demonstrate, employ, illustrate, practice, schedule, sketch. This is as application. Analysis, as a verb, you can analyze, appraise, categorize, compare, contrast, debate, diagram, distinguish, examine, inspect, etc. For synthesis, arrange, assemble, collect, combine, comply, compose, construct, create. These are all measurable verbs. For evaluation, you can evaluate something, then it is measurable. Appraise, argue, choose, compare, conclude, estimate, interpret, justify. Okay, these are all measurable verbs for each type of thinking. I think it is arranged in another table here, the same. I will not repeat now. And you can find it on internet, this table. You can Google it, Bloom's taxonomy verb. Bloom's taxonomy verbs. You can use these verbs in your questions. And for example, if you want to test the knowledge of a student or assess the knowledge of a student, you can ask these questions. What happened after? How many? Who was it that? Can you name the? Describe what happened at? Can you tell why? Find the meaning of what is and which is it true or false. Then true or false questions, you can assess knowledge. And these are the measurable verbs. Now, and for comprehension, can you write in your own words? Can you write a brief outline or outline something? What do you think could have happened next? What do you think of? Can you distinguish between? What differences exist between? Can you provide an example what you mean? Can you provide a definition? Okay, these are the measurable verbs. And applications, you can solve, show, use, illustrate, construct, complete, examine, classify. These are all these tables that you can find on internet. Okay. Then at the end, the student should be, this is at the top of the tables, there is a better solution to. Can you defend your position about? Do you think is a good or bad thing? Then he has to evaluate, is it good or bad? And how would you handle? What changes do you recommend? Do you believe? How effective are? What do you think about? These are for evaluating. Then you can use this verb in your objectives, okay, in evaluating.